Welcome back to the Hoops Temple podcast. Y'all know me, Nathan Schwartz. Joining me from Austin, Texas, we got Rob from the Bballarchives.
What's going on? Thanks for having me, Nate.
Glad to have you. Good to have you here. And then joining us from Memphis, we got Coach Lewis from Rim Dynasties. What's going on?
Good. I'm excited to talk about Philadelphia area basketball here on Temple Hoops podcast, right?
Absolutely. That's the major inspiration for our name is Temple University, a place that I have never been to or heard of. I've heard of it, but strong hoops tradition there.
Absolutely.
Well, gentlemen, I'm glad that you guys both could join us because we've been just working our way through each of the divisions, trying to figure out, where each of these teams are going to rank. It's been a nice way to kind of touch base on all of the teams, see what moves they've made. Lou, you are a Memphis guy. Rob, you have stuck through the dark times in San Antonio. So it'll be great to have you guys on. Generally, we try to start off with the worst team in the conference or work our way up to the best team in the conference. I don't want to take too bold of assumptions, but are we okay with saying the worst team in the division will be the Spurs?
We certainly could be. I think we'll. I mean, if we aren't, we will be fighting for that title. So I think, let's start with San Antonio. I mean, I think that there's obvious improvements from last year. I mean, I don't think that I look at this roster and the way we've developed and we're still going to be a 22-win team. I think we're going to win much more than that. For many reasons. I mean, just to name a few, obviously you add Wemby. I mean, first and foremost, it's Wembanyama is what everyone's been screaming through the streets of San Antonio. So it's, he obviously gives us a clear offensive and defensive identity to build around. But I also like that Keldon is going to be a little bit more in his natural role. Whenever he played off ball alongside of DeJounte, we saw a more efficient Keldon Johnson. And I think we're going to see a little bit more of that this next season. I think it's going to be a little bit more like Wemby's going to get the ball high post, and we're going to see a lot more catch and shoot from Keldon. So I think him playing a more efficient brand of basketball is going to be a good thing. Healthy Devin Vassell, I'm going to be really excited about because he only played 38 games last year. So I think, we need to see him on the court more often than not. And, in order to get some actual rhythm within our young core, and the other young guys developing like Jeremy Sohan. Like I saw so much within that rookie season to just get me excited about what this guy can bring to the table. And I just wonder, what other ways can he improve his game, similar to how he did free throws mid-season. And outside of that, we shored up our point guard with Trey Jones a little bit. So I like that move. We have some sleeper guys like Julian Champagnie I like a lot. So I think we improve, but I'm not going to get unrealistic. I don't think we win more than 35 games. We're not going to be a crazy team.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I haven't been thinking of the Spurs as like anything more than like a play-in team at best, But I think that like this year is just going to be okay. We're getting Wemby involved. We're going to see kind of what his strengths and weaknesses are in the NBA. I think I saw that he's going to start at the 4 alongside Zach Collins, so that'll be kind of interesting to see what happens there. You mentioned Devin Vassell. He just signed an extension like an hour ago.
He did. Yeah. He did. That was a pretty fat extension. I'm honestly glad to see it. Like it was, about $30 million a year. I think, maybe year 1 or year 2, it's going to look like a steep amount of money, but towards the back end of that deal, I think it's going to look like a steal. I think he's going to improve a lot to where, he may end up being a 40-45 mil a year kind of guy towards the end of that contract.
Yeah.
I think his catch and shoot ability or his ability to attack going downhill has been really strong. So, I mean, I like the way he pairs next to Wemby. I think that's going to be a really nice fit.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things I've done for each of these teams is I've prepared a somewhat loose trivia question.
I've been waiting for these all day.
The Spurs have had some masterful draft picks We know Duncan number one. We know Robinson number one. But since Tim Duncan, they have had 10 rookies that have played at least 1,000 minutes in their rookie campaign. These can be undrafted guys. These can be guys that were traded to them at the draft. But can you name the 10 rookies that were drafted or that played 1,000 minutes? It's for the Spurs. There's some really easy names and there's some hard names in here.
Well, I mean, obviously, like Duncan, we're talking, Duncan, Robinson, without a doubt.
Sorry, since Duncan.
Oh, since Duncan.
Since Duncan. And just for some context, 1,000 minutes is about 15 minutes a game if they play 70 games that season.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow, that's a very interesting question. I didn't know we were going to dive in on that, but all right, first names that really come to mind that we drafted
or traded for or undrafted guys just played their rookie year with San Antonio.
Man.
I'll say Kawhi, George Hill, either one of them.
Yeah,
Kawhi, George Hill.
Both of them.
That's two of our names.
Sure, man. I'm drawing a blank on this question real quick.
Come on, Rob. This is your chance to relive the glory days of rookies past.
I don't know. I don't know why.
Parker and Ginobili, both there.
Oh, wait.
I'm getting the easy ones out of the way for you.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I think I misunderstood the question. Okay. I thought it was excluding those. Okay. All right.
Just anyone since Duncan. And we're trying to relive the glory days of rookies past, or remembering all the impactful rookies, because San Antonio does have this surprising history of rookies making a big impact. A lot of the guys on this list don't have great NBA careers, but because they're drafted later, ended up playing a surprising amount of minutes.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm coming up so blank on some of these. Can you throw out a couple for me just to make me feel a little bit better about myself? And I feel like I'm failing as a Spurs fan right now.
What about I'm gonna think Keldon and Trey Jones too.
Well, I mean, wait, Devin wouldn't be in there. I don't think he played enough minutes.
Devin Vassell, 1,056 minutes.
Okay.
Keldon did not make it. Nor did Trey Jones.
Yeah, neither did Trey. Okay. Yeah, because we did play Devin quite a bit.
I can give you some names that are just off the list.
Yeah, give me some names that are just off the list.
Jonathan Simmons only played 800 minutes.
Oh,
Josh Primo, 965.
965.
Bertans.
What about Lonnie? What about Lonnie Walker? Did we play Lonnie Walker some good minutes?
Not as a rookie.
Not as a rookie.
No.
Man.
Derek Jones, DeJounte Murray.
Yeah. No.
Derek White. Sorry.
Yeah, Derek White.
Nope.
Neither of them. Wow.
Neither of them.
Wow. Okay, I'm coming up blank. Yeah,
this one might have been too hard of a trivia question.
Well, no, honestly, it's just the rookie aspect of it is throwing me off a little bit. Because I'm just trying to think of rookie specific seasons.
Yeah. So we've got 5 of them. Is that right? 5 or 6.
Yes, you got George Hill.
What about like guys like Tiago Splitter?
Tiago is 700 minutes.
Okay. I don't know why his name popped up, but yeah, it's
a great name. It's a guy that was really impactful to past Spurs championship. It's been amazing to kind of look back at some of these names. No, Bonner did not get many minutes.
Yeah, he had his role, but he was mainly like a 10-12 minute kind of guy.
Yeah.
Guys that were getting big minutes, or at least some decent minutes back in the day. I mean, we didn't have. Man, I'm really coming up blank on some of these.
Bruce Bowen.
Nope.
Well, he was in Chicago as a rookie, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was. Yeah.
There were 2 from last year's team.
Oh, two from last year's team. Wow. Dang. Who was playing big minutes for us last year? It wasn't
Sohan?
Jeremy?
Yeah, so it wasn't Malachi Brenham?
It was Malachi with
Was it Malachi?
1,500.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Did Luka Samanic play 1,000? He couldn't have, right?
He did not.
No.
But you're missing the guy with the second most minutes played. He was a point guard for the Spurs.
Patty Mills.
No, he's Portland. Yeah.
Why am I thinking Patty?
Oh, yeah. Corey Joseph.
Not Corey. Corey did get decent minutes his first year, but
Kyle Anderson.
No.
Still no, man.
I'm gonna give you guys the three names so we can move on, but I thought this would be a fun look back at Spurs history. Beno Udrih is in there.
Yep. Okay, Beno.
Gary Neal. And Juwan Blair.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. No ACLs. Dang.
Mr. No knees. Came in, played big right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Spurs have had a surprising number of guys that have come in, made impacts as their rookie year.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a good framework to look at, just because, what impact are we expecting Wemby to have this year? Rob, what's your projection on his stats?
Well, I mean, I think he's going to come in and have all the agency in the world. I mean, there's really no one that's fighting him for minutes, whether he's playing power forward on offense, playing center on defense. He's going to move fluidly through the offense and the defense. So I think, the sky is the limit for him. It's just all about health. It's like, is he going to be healthy enough to get some rhythm during the season? But I could easily see a rookie campaign where he's putting up 18 and 10, at least 2 blocks a game. The efficiency is probably going to be atrocious. I mean, it's probably going to be sub 30% from beyond the arc. He's going to get clamped down a lot. He's going to get fouled a lot. I think the only upside to that is he's a decent free throw shooter. He's going to be about probably 70, maybe 72%, I would say, from the line based on what I've seen from him. So it's, whenever I put all that together, I could easily see 18 and 10 and, with obviously, really great rim protecting defense.
Yeah, I think so. I was thinking about this earlier because I know that you've asked this on a couple others, Nate. So I was thinking somewhere around, because I feel like he might not they might kind of have the training wheels on him as a rookie. And I was thinking 14, maybe 9 rebounds. But I'm going to overshoot you on the blocks. I think it's going to be 2.5 blocks. I think he's going to just block everything.
Oh, yeah.
He's got crazy arms. And if he's not the primary center or defender that's glued to the big man, he can roam and get lots of, easy weak side blocks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he'll probably kind of what Jaren Jackson did this year. I think that he'll have, like you said, a lot of agency to be able to just
the Rob Williams roamer role.
And he's got the longest arms in the world. He'll be able to get a hand on everything.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be tipping floaters. He's gonna. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's gonna be surprising people that are gonna take some corner threes, and they're thinking they're not gonna have to worry about Wemby, and he's gonna get a fingertip on it somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. With all that, then, what type of wins improvement are we thinking for these the Spurs? I've got them at 30 wins in my book.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a safe bet. I mean, I'm thinking more anywhere from 12 to at most a 15 win improvement from last season, given everything I was kind of saying earlier. I mean, I don't think we make the play in. I'm not trying to over exaggerate what we're about to do for next season. But 40 wins is a stretch, obviously. But if we were to win 37 games, I think that would be an ideal outcome if everyone's healthy.
That's really high.
Yeah,
but that's a huge improvement. I mean, I know Wemby's the greatest prospect since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but that seems like a huge jump.
I mean, it would put us at 11th in the West, maybe. That's we would finish behind. We would finish behind what the Mavs did last season, and they didn't make the play-in. It's you got to keep it in perspective. I'm not saying we're a play-in team. I'm just saying, I think with everything I was saying earlier, improvements with our young core and adding Wemby, at best, that could be 15 more wins.
Fair enough.
But maybe I'm just an optimistic Spurs fan. I'm not discounting that either.
It is okay to have some optimism. We recorded yesterday, Aaron, Dylan, Jack, and I. So 2 Kings fans, and sure enough, they projected the Kings have more wins than the rest of us. Clippers fan, he projects the Clippers have more wins than the rest of us. I did project the Lakers slightly higher than the other 2 put them. So it happens.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like if Wemby comes in and it's like Tim Duncan's rookie season, like top 5 MVP, whatever, which I don't know if he'll be top 5 in MVP based on number of wins, but like I'm thinking best case scenario like 35. I think they'll settle around 29 or 30 because I feel like Wemby's gonna play like 65 games maybe. Not because of injury, but just because of like, we're going to rest you back to back, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Looking at all of the minutes from the rookies, it was really interesting to see. Like, Pop does not play rookies a ton of minutes unless he kind of drafts them later and they're one of those older guys like, Gary Neal coming in, Juwan Blair coming in. But like 20 minutes a night seems to be his consistent role for rookies. So nice. I think there's potential for more of a slow roll.
Yeah, obviously, and we're taking the long-term approach with Wemby. If there's any kind of concern, we're thinking long-term. So it's not like we're going to be pushing him out there trying to develop him quickly like Orlando Magic was doing with Paulo last year. It's like it's not going to be something like that.
Yeah, no need to rush it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the second worst team in the division, I think we would all agree, is going to be the Houston Rockets.
Yes.
Any other nominations for? Okay.
Nah.
Well, last season Houston was the second youngest team in the league with an average age of 22.1 years old. This year they have left off 5 guys that are 23 or younger. Can you guys name the 5 23-year-old or younger players that were on Houston last season and are not on them this year?
Oh, they're not. Josh Christopher.
Yeah, he just moved. Yeah.
Usman Garuba.
Yep.
Is Jayshawn Tate still on that team?
Jayshawn Tate is still there.
Okay.
But we got a guy that went to the Clippers, a guy that went to the Timberwolves, and a guy that went to the Bucks.
The Bucks. I'm trying to think of who was a part of that Brooks deal.
So that was Josh Christopher, I believe.
Yeah, that was Christopher.
He just got cut by Memphis, didn't he?
He did, yeah, yesterday.
Man, can't even get home there.
Well, we'll get to it later, but there's a bit of a roster crunch right now. There's like 20 guys on the roster right now.
Yeah, I'm coming up blank on that one. I mean, they kept Cam Whitmore, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. On the team last year.
Yeah, I cannot think of who the Clipper would be. Who's on the Clippers now?
He was the 52nd pick in the 2020 draft.
Oh, Ty Washington?
He is on the Milwaukee Bucks, but he is one of the names. The 29th pick
there we go.
In the 22 draft.
Gotcha.
You got all the good draft picks. Josh Christopher was the 21st in the 21 draft. Ty 29th in the 22. Usman Garuba, 23rd pick in 21. Yeah. The names we're missing here are Kenyon Martin Jr.
Oh, yeah.
And Deshaun Nix.
Oh, I remember. He played a ton last year.
Okay.
Yeah. They've given up on their youth movement. They've brought in the veterans this year. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think entirely about their starting lineup, but at least a loose projection is something like Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, and Fred VanVleet. How are we feeling about new look Rockets?
I think they are going to be the worst true shooting team in the league. I think they're going to be a bottom 10 offense at best. But they're going to be super fun to watch.
They are. They are going to be very fun to watch. I mean, but with, Jalen Green and then adding Van Vliet, like he's just been getting more inefficient as his career goes on. So I feel like, man, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think they still have a responsibility to develop their younger guys like Green and Şengün, but I don't know how that's going to happen when you're bringing in Dylan Brooks, you're bringing in, Van Vliet and, I guess I'm kind of scratching my head, but hopefully Udoka can figure it out.
Yeah. I do like just with Dylan Brooks. I mean, he's obviously a great defender. I have my qualms with his offense. I looked him up. He had the third lowest true shooting percentage in the league last year. Dylan Brooks did.
Oh, wow.
Only I have my own trivia question, but I won't ask it. But Trey Mann and Killian Hayes were the two that were worse. So if you want to know what kind of league Dylan Brooks is in.
That does not help my Killian Hayes stock. I'm holding out hope. I still believe that he can turn this around.
Literally, the only way is up for Killian Hayes' true shooting.
Or out.
He was number one.
Out.
Killian Hayes was number 198 out of 198.
Oh man.
That hurts. Yeah, I have kind of similar feelings because I really like Jabari Smith Jr. I like Tariq Eason.
Yeah.
I want to see those guys continue to develop, but it feels like in bringing in Van Vliet and Brooks, minutes are going to get crunched. The shooting's going to get crunched.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't feel like Van Vliet's really the guy that's going to set them up and really captain the offense. Like, it'd be one thing to bring in a veteran like Chris Paul or Kyle Lowry that's like, hey, I'm going to tone set and help you guys develop. I don't know that I feel like Van Vliet is that guy.
Yeah. I feel like he kind of wants his own, wants to run the show and not defer to, he's not going to defer to Dylan Brooks, but not defer to Jalen Green, who really, I mean, they should be focusing on him. He should be taking the most shots and, playing the most minutes of everybody. He's in his third year now. And I mean, I like Jalen Green a lot. I think he
really
has not been in I don't know if from a basketball perspective, I like him. I like watching him. I like watching the shots that go in. Let me say that. I think he's extremely exciting, but really dumb as on the court. And so I would like to see him be better because I feel like he's one of the more exciting players in the league if he can put things together. But so far, I mean, he's just not very good.
Well, I mean, I think he's one of those guys where you'll watch him play and you'll see him hit the most difficult shot ever.
Exactly.
It'll be this ridiculous fadeaway in front of two people, and I'm just like, wow, that was incredible. And then he'll miss a wide open, easy, basic,
exactly,
as close to a practice shot as you can humanly get, and it just doesn't go in. And I'm like, wow, there's just some consistency there. And I mean, I think a lot of that comes with age, but if the Rockets don't have the right sort of roster rotation, then how are you going to be able to develop that? I mean, he's got to be able to learn those responsibilities within the offense, as being the man within that offense.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring in Van Vliet, I don't know if that sends the right message.
Yeah. And it seems like they really want to make the playoffs this year. I mean, they brought in Udoka, they brought in a lot of more veteran guys. They brought in Green.
Yeah, Jeff Green.
Yeah. Why would you bring in Jeff Green? Jack Landale kind of makes some sense. All right, he's a little bit younger. He can, be a solid defensive big. But what Jeff Green is just, hey, I'm veteran presence and I want to help the team make the playoffs. But I don't know. This lineup just feels weird. And I'm like, I don't want to see a starting lineup of Jock Landale, Jeff Green, Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, and then I don't care who else you put in there. It's just you've given up on developing the youth, and that just tells me you're going to backslide more maybe the following year.
Right. You're just going to end up in no man's land, just making the play in barely. And it's all right, how are you going to develop after that?
Yeah. Well, the Rockets also won 22 games last year. What are we thinking about putting them down as far as wins this year?
So I was thinking hard about this. I don't think that they will make the play-in. I feel like their offense is going to be so bad, and like I feel like it's going to be predictable. I don't know. Like Dylan Brooks just does the same thing every possession. Like, and he's gonna as soon as he gets the ball, he really doesn't let it go. I looked at his like aggregate passing number, like just raw numbers, and he receives a lot more passes than he gets. Let's just say that. But I think like because I mean they're gonna score points. I was thinking like 31-32 probably.
Okay. That's right where I had him in the 31-32 range. It's also where Vegas has him. 31.5 wins.
Oh, really?
Projected over on. Oh, yeah.
I think that makes all the sense in the world. I mean, at the end of the day, they got a lot of young guys that are getting better. They added some good weapons, but I just don't see it all meshing together to where it's going to result in anything positive. It's, but more than 22 wins. Yeah, sure. I could see him easily 29, 30 wins without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, who is the next team you guys want to talk about? Because I feel like there's cases for any of the Memphis Mavericks or Pelicans teams to be the kind of middle tier of the Southwest Division.
When I was guessing the number of wins, I had Dallas next just by a hair.
Okay.
But if you guys disagree, then feel free to go to a different team.
I was kind of thinking Pelicans. Rob, where were you at?
I was kind of thinking Mavs as well, but I'm down to go wherever.
Let's talk like Mavericks. Last year, Luka and Kyrie were both in the top 10 in points per game. This is just the 12th time since the year 2000 that teammates have done it, and there have only been 8 other teammate combinations to be in the top 10 in points per game. Can you name the other 8 combos?
Okay. Kobe and Shaq.
Kyrie?
Kobe and Shaq, yep.
Was it KD Curry?
No, surprisingly.
KD Steph.
No KD Steph.
Really? Wow.
Now, it was also like the minimum games thing, so I don't know if that played effect in it.
Was it LeBron, Kyrie?
LeBron and Kyrie, yes.
LeBron, Kyrie. LeBron and Wade.
LeBron and Wade, yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to think through like the mid 2000s. What would
Look for high scoring duos.
Kobe and Powell? Powell didn't score enough, right?
No, Powell did not score enough.
Okay.
There were a couple surprising ones in here.
Yeah.
Just two teammates that were in the top 10 in points per game in a single season.
Okay.
When shot in the dark, Grant Hill and Jerry Stackhouse?
No.
Okay.
That's a good guess, though. That's a deep pull.
Yeah.
But 2001, when Stackhouse exploded, was right after they got rid of Grant.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Why am I thinking like Peja and Chris Webber?
No, but that's a good call.
That is.
Huh.
Sharif Abdur-Rahim and Michael Dickerson.
Fantastic names. No. I'll give you the teams. We've got one duo from Denver, one duo from the Knicks. We've got a Golden State Warriors combo, an OKC combo, and a Boston combo.
Katie and Russ, Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, Tatum and Brown for sure. Now that you mentioned that.
Tatum and Brown, Katie and Russ.
Let's see, Denver, Iverson and Carmelo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Dang, I feel like I should have got that.
So we got a Warriors. I mean, Stephen Clay.
Stephen Clay.
Good cleanup on that one.
Yeah.
2015.
Who was the last one?
There's a Knicks combo.
Carmelo and Amare.
Carmelo and Amare.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Excellent. I thought it was interesting to kind of look back and see, all right, you do have some dominant scoring duos that won, Shaq and Kobe, LeBron and Wade, Clay and Curry, but also you've got Iverson and Carmelo. You've got Carmelo and Amare. Tatum and Brown, Russell and Durant. A lot of these combinations actually didn't end up winning the years that they were doing this. And so as we're looking at Dallas with 2 top 10 scorers, I think that's just as very telling that they could have this incredible offensive output, but still potentially not be a good team.
Just goes to show that fit matters. It's like it's not all about the numbers you're putting up. It's almost in the way that within the offense.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean they don't have like Grant Williams now, but they don't really have very many guys who like actually can play defense.
Yeah. And Maxi Kleber, Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Josh Green.
Yeah, Josh Green. But I mean, I was looking at the roster and I was like, man, this doesn't inspire me at all. I just don't think this team is going to be very good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I completely agree. I was expecting more of a splash, and whenever they got rid of Dorian Finney-Smith, I was like, all right, there's a clear defensive hole that was just created, and I don't think that they've ever filled that void since.
Yeah, I mean, Grant Williams is like good. He's a good defender, but like I don't know. I mean, he's not the defensive anchor, but I mean, he kind of has to be. In this, in some lineups on this team.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been trying to figure out like what I think a crunch time 5 for these guys could look like.
Yeah,
and I don't want Dwight Powell in it, so I'm going small. I'm putting Maxi Kleber at center.
Yeah,
next to Grant Williams, Josh Green, Luka, and Kyrie, because I feel like that's about as much defensive capabilities you can put out there.
Yeah,
Rob, what were you about to say?
No, I was about to say they re-signed Powell and didn't they get Rashawn Holmes?
They did.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Podcasting a whole season with a Kings fan last year, I haven't been feeling much Rashawn Holmes love for a season now.
Right. I guess I'm talking about in comparison to Dwight Powell's rim protection. His actually looks good from time to time.
Well, they also got Derek Jones Jr.
Yeah, Derek Jones Jr. I was looking and I was like, they really are going to need Derek Lively. Like, they're going to need him to be a really good defender immediately.
Yeah. And he's going to basically have to come in and be Walker Kessler because they just need it. And then the problem is that, like, some of their defensive players, like a Grant Williams, like a Derek Jones Jr., they can't give you much on offense. Like, I don't want the ball in Grant Williams' hands unless he's going to randomly get super hot like he did that one playoff game to knock out Milwaukee. But, like, it just doesn't happen.
I feel like most of his offense comes from corner threes anyway. And I don't know, I may be conflating like what he did in college. I went to Tennessee when he was at Tennessee, and he just he shot a million free throws when he was in college. And I think he doesn't really get to do that very often anymore. But I mean, I feel like his offense is just that and threes,
Maybe with Luka, they can get other teams in foul trouble, and then Grant can get back to the line. That's fingers crossed. They did sign Dante Exum, which I've been a Dante Exum stand ever since he was in the draft. He got Kobe's agent. Kobe gave him one like ounce of praise. Like, I think he'll be good, and I'm just hoping that this is the year of Dante Exum.
Yeah, I mean, you see like little flashes of brilliance with like the Australian national team, or like you're like, oh wow, that was a really good game he just played, and then like you watch him play, he's like a really tall, sort of lengthy point guard. I'm like, wow, he's got the physical tools, but then it's just never translated on an NBA level. But yeah, we're rooting for you, Dante.
Yeah, I want to see how I'm trying to look up how he did in Spain, and then where else was he? Where's Partizan? Is that in Turkey?
Maybe.
I'm trying to see what his stats were. I mean, it looks like he was doing. I don't have any frame of reference for how like Turkish league stats are, but he averaged 13 a game in Turkey. So I mean that might be good.
That's decent. You know, one of the things I always forget when I look at international stats is that they play a 40-minute game. And those extra 8 minutes, they do add up quite a bit.
They do.
So, like,
yeah.
You gotta kind of always adjust your stats.
Absolutely. Like I posted something about like Mirotic winning the Euro League MVP like last year, and somebody was like, "Oh, he only had like 13 and 7," and I'm like, "Dude, like that's really good for how many minutes he was playing, and it was really efficient." And I was like,
"Yeah." Well, you remember when like in the Luka pre-draft stuff, people were like, "His stats are nothing," but like he was like for Spain, he was averaging crazy numbers at 18.
They won EuroLeague MVP at 18.
Yeah. People were, I don't know. I was never on the he should have gone to college. Like I was like, this dude's averaging, I don't remember how much, but like a ton for Spain, you know.
I feel very happy because I was like, listen, Luka's gonna be the best player from this draft.
Yeah.
Shai's gonna be the second best. And at this point, Shai has come out and kind of jumped in that conversation. But like, I was like, those guys should go 1 and 2. I don't know why people are talking about Ayton and Bagley.
Yeah.
So I at least had it half right.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the potential ceiling for the Mavs in a playoff run?
I mean, they were about like
exit? I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to say they were like about 40 wins last year. Like I view that as, you know, maybe a slight improvement on it. Maybe like they're 41, 42 wins at most. But like I view them as like a play-in team. Maybe they can sneak into the playoffs. But yeah, at best, first round exit.
Yeah, I do think like, so I had 42 wins as well for them. Yeah, I think play-in, get absolutely destroyed by Denver in the first round, and then that's it. And and then Kyrie's unhappy, and whatever happens.
I'm surprised. I'm the highest of them. I've got about 44. I just think a full year together of Luka and Kyrie, assuming that they get to have a full year together, because with Kyrie, that could implode a couple weeks into the season. Who knows? But I just think that there's a lot of offensive firepower, and that in the regular season is going to translate to wins, and in the playoffs it's going to be pretty easily exploited.
Well, I will say Kyrie Irving, he's in the, I believe I saw on Twitter somebody call it the love bombing phase of his Mavericks tenure, where he's saying like, "Oh, I wish I was drafted by Dallas. They treat you so well." When that kind of same thing was happening, like when he got to the Nets and he was like, "Oh, you know, my parents are Nets fans," you know. It took him 3 games to tell a Nets fan to suck his dick. So, you know, it might not go that well in Dallas.
Might not be lasting the longest.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. I think the next worst team in the division then is going to be the Pelicans here. And the Pelicans, big question for the season is how much will CJ, Zion, and Ingram play together?
Yeah.
In the last 2 seasons, they have played 172 minutes together. That is it. I'm gonna read off a list of players and ask you if they played more or less minutes than that. The trio of Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, more or less than the 172 minutes.
I think it was more.
I think more.
More is correct. It is 235.
Yeah. Okay.
In the 2015 playoffs, just the 2015 playoffs, Kyrie, LeBron, and Kevin Love.
That's low, I'm pretty sure. I think it's under.
Yeah, I'll go under as well.
It is under. It is 89 minutes.
There, because wasn't it like game 2 or 3 when K-Love got his shoulder separated?
Yeah.
It was game 5, but
game 5, okay.
Still, got it pulled out.
The 3 seasons that the process #1 picks were together, Simmons, Fultz, and Embiid. And for context, Fultz did miss one of those years. So it's really just 2 seasons on the court.
I'm going to go with the over on that one. I think more.
I think like 2 minutes more, honestly.
It's about 20 minutes less. It is 125.
Dang.
Yeah.
In the 8 games that Booker, Paul, and Durant played together last year, are they over or under?
I feel like it has to be over.
I'm going to say under.
It is 5 minutes under.
Oh my gosh.
So in 8 games, they racked up nearly as many minutes as the Pelicans trio.
Wow.
That was a good one. That was a really good one.
That just puts things into perspective. Yeah. You need time on the court to gel.
You do.
Absolutely. So the real question is this the year that we finally get that time on the court?
I hope so, man. Zion is so good. He is so good. And so I have a lot of like Pelicans related PTSD because the Pelicans always beat the Grizzlies and CJ McCollum always beats the Grizzlies, and now now he's on the Pelicans. So I always am expecting, like, before every season, like, they're going to win 55 games. They're going to be the 2 seed. I'm not expecting quite that this year, but like, this team is so good. They've got so many just like good players on the team, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're crazy deep. If we look at that starting 5, it's Jonas Valanciunas, Zion, in theory, Trey Murphy or Herb Jones, Ingram, CJ. But then their bench, Jose Alvarado, Dyson Daniels, either Trey or Herb, whoever you didn't start, Najee Marshall, Larry Nance Jr., Cody Zeller, Willie Hernan Gomez. Like that's 11 NBA players.
Yeah. That, although I will say, I was thinking about, because New Orleans and Memphis they've been kind of parallel, 1-2 in the 2019 draft, and Zion and Ja are kind of compared to each other.
Sure.
I would love to see them at some point, maybe this season, maybe next, like trade Valanciunas and get like a real stretch 5 in there just to clear up the paint, get fewer like touches for Valanciunas, and just like give every single one of them to Zion.
You're not buying into Jonas Nowitzki. I forget how they combined the Dirk Nowitzki Valanciunas nickname.
So I like Valanciunas because he's a great player. He's really cool, but I don't know. I feel like with Ja, like they traded Memphis traded Valanciunas to get Steven Adams to kind of like free up shots for Ja and for Desmond Bane. And like Zion has no shortage of shots, but like he needs to take more. Like he is that good. He needs to take, I don't know how many he takes, but he needs to take 5 more a game.
Yeah, but it just takes a physical toll on you whenever you're creating that offense, and it's just like, I mean, that just means with that usage rate comes him breaking down more often. So it's just, I almost think like you need somebody like Valanciunas next to him or playing within that rotation to almost absorb some of that some of that physicality. Like, and definitely within the West, I feel like your Grizzlies experience last year, if you don't have somebody tough down low that those bigs, it's pretty tough to beat some of these big Western Conference teams.
Yeah, that is a great point. What I was thinking is just like, okay, best case scenario, this will never happen, but like if they could get like Al Horford like this year, I mean I just feel like that would be such a good, like somebody who can shoot, somebody who can give, not even just to Zion, but like give shots to Trey Murphy, give shots to CJ McCollum. Like, I don't know, Valanciunas just he takes so many shots that like if he could just like shoot some threes, I know he takes like 2 a game, focus on rebounding, screening, maybe block a shot or 2. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's the best case. But it like you said, the physicality, like Zion is kind of fragile. So
yeah. I'm trying to even think who the like perfect center would be, because you probably at this point you don't want Al Horford, too old. Like, you don't want to move forward. Gosh, who would you even try to target and trade for?
I was so in addition to Horford, I was like, okay, Zach Collins, but he's not tough. I wouldn't call him.
No.
Kelly Olynyk, but like I don't know, just. There's no perfect, like, I feel like Al Horford 5 years ago is the answer.
Right. Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Olynyk would be a nice name to get over there. I don't know if Utah's willing to break it up, but They got John Collins now. Like Kessler Walker's going to be playing more. They got so much room in the front court. Maybe sell an Olynyk where they can.
I think like Miles Turner would be like best case scenario if it was to be like somebody to go over there that could defend, but also, you know, help stretch things out a little bit. You know, I think that could make sense, but because that might be a perfect world for them.
Yeah. What wasn't the plan with Jackson Hayes to like eventually get him to be like a 3-point shooter?
I have no idea what the plan with Jackson Hayes
I don't know.
was.
I don't know.
From the minute that happened, because that was the Lakers pick that became Garland.
Yeah.
They flipped back for Hayes. Was it Kyra Lewis that they got? Am I remembering this deal
Sounds
right?
right. Sounds right.
It was just like, man, take the good player. We know Garland's going to be good. Why you got to overcomplicate things? Just put him and Zion together, and you're solid.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Ingram? I came into the offseason really high on what Ingram was going to be this next year, and then the World Cup happened, and he wasn't very good. I kind of had to back off some of my Ingram hype.
I would say the World Cup, you know, don't read into anything from the World Cup, especially on the defensive end, or, you know, when you're looking at rebounds or anything like that. You know, block shots, rebound minutes, starting. You know, especially if you were like the defensive player of the year in 2023, the World Cup doesn't matter at all. And it's not indicative of anything.
Yeah. And plus I think it was more of an indicator that he was kind of put into a role that he maybe has never been. He was kind of like, hey, you're going to play in a limited role where some games we might need you, some games we might not. And like, in Brandon Ingram's recent basketball career, when has that ever happened? You know, it's like, it's literally never happened to him. So I just feel it's almost like you know, he was just kind of in a different world wherever he was kind of experiencing a new role.
Yeah.
I mean, he was initially asked to be the star on the team, and kind of the go-to guy, and then got usurped, probably rightfully so, by Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. I don't know. Brandon Ingram is so interesting to me because, like, so I can't remember if it was which offseason it was, maybe 2020 or 2021. There was talk that maybe Memphis would like throw him a max contract, and then he wasn't available. But I mean, I don't know. I really like him. I think he's a great player, but like, I don't know, something about him just doesn't work for me. I don't know. I know isn't he the leading scorer on New Orleans? I guess not.
Whenever Zion's not playing.
Yeah. I don't know. He can hit a three. He can rebound. He can assist. But like, I don't know. Something about him. He feels like kind of the odd man out.
Right. It's almost like you expect the best player on your team, if they're scoring the most, and they're contributing in so many areas, you almost expect them to be like a good leader to a certain degree. And I think that's one of the pieces he's missing as well. Is I don't really think that, just from what we've seen, is he's got that mentality where it's like, dude, I'm going to put the team on my back and really do what's needed to get these wins to put us in a good playoff position. And it's like, you know, sometimes you just got to, you know, maybe go beyond just putting up your numbers and how can I just contribute to winning. And maybe now that he's kind of getting into his prime a little bit, maybe we'll see that side of him.
He will be 26 this year. He also did have kind of an injury-plagued season last year. He only played 45 games, which I know I was a little bit surprised looking back on that. I felt like he played more. Well, where are we putting them wins-wise? I'm going with 41. What are you guys thinking?
I was going to go a little higher. I was going to say something closer to like 46.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, if you're looking at but also they didn't make enough moves. Like they didn't make really hardly any moves. Like they re-signed Herb Jones, which, you know, I like his defense. You got to make sure that he's going to be there long term. But like outside of that, they didn't really do a whole lot. So if it was less than that, it wouldn't really surprise me.
Yeah. So for me, of course, it depends on how much Zion plays. I think I don't think he's going to play 82 games. If he plays like 70 games, I think they're going to win like 49. And then
Really?
of course, that's still, again, like I'm terrified of the Pelicans. But then, like, if he has a season where, like, he goes out January 1st or whatever, like he did last year, then like 37, 38, I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard. You just got to kind of figure out what you feel comfortable with Zion.
Yeah.
Also, the West is just kind of a bloodbath. I was looking at the total wins. And like last year, the East had a lot more wins from their top tier teams. The West was a little bit more condensed because you got to play your own conference 52 times.
Yeah.
And so like Phoenix is the 4 seed at 45 wins. Pelicans.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, you have a bad week, you could fall from 3 to 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, like, I was looking at the Basketball Reference, like, standings by date tool.
Mm-hmm.
I love that thing. And so on the day that Zion went out, they were 3rd. They were tied for 2nd, I believe. And they were like a game behind Denver for 1st. And then they just like completely fell down.
Plummeted.
Yeah. Like he is so important rightfully so. He's so important to every single thing that they do that, like, without him, they're kind of lost.
Oh yeah.
I love Basketball Reference's game results. They're like, if you go to the team page and you see the little green bars for wins, the red bars. And like you could just look at it and be like, oh yeah, I see the moment Zion went out, because it's just
exactly
like 11 straight losses, 2 wins, then like 5 losses.
It turns out losing the league's best paint scorer actually hurts your team.
Yeah.
Who knew? Interesting. All right, so we got a decent spread on this one. I went 41, Rob 46, Lou 49. I think that makes sense, just given the volatility of the Pelicans' injuries. And that leaves us with just one team left, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, and I'm not allowed to say anything about this as a coach, so I'm muting myself.
All right. Well, maybe you could say something about the trivia question here. Although this one, I expected this one to actually be the hardest trivia question of the day, so fair warning, but it's also kind of a fun one.
Yeah.
During the offseason, Memphis traded for Marcus Smart, which means they are pairing together 2 players who have won Defensive Player of the Year. This has only happened 7 times in league history prior.
Oh, man.
Can you name those 7 times? And I will let you know that some of these are before the players won it, they were on the same team. Some's like, end of one guy's career at the start of the others. They're like 2 easy ones, and then 5. Good luck getting them. If you guys can get 3 or 4 of them, I'll be impressed.
Let's see. Remind me, LeBron's never won Depoy, right?
No, he did not. Marcus Saul took that one from him.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Well, was it Marcus Saul and Tony Allen hasn't won a Depoy?
He hasn't, surprisingly.
No. Okay. He deserves one.
Hard for those wing defenders to get him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Duncan and Robinson.
Duncan win one.
Never got one.
He never. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's my blood boils to this day.
Yeah, what is up with that? Because like we all know Duncan was really Duncan's all defensive first team for how many years in a row?
Like a ton.
It was like 8 first teams in a row, and then 7 second teams, I believe.
Yeah. That's messed up.
Okay.
He got one.
Kobe never won one either, did he?
No.
Jeez,
that's more understandable.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to go.
Yeah, Depoys.
We got 2 in the 90s.
2 in the 90s, okay.
Wait, it's not MJ Scotty. Scotty wasn't Depoy. That's
But it is MJ and someone else.
Oh, is it? No, it couldn't be. It's not Oakley or Cartwright, is it?
No, sir.
No. Dang, this is a good one, dude. This is
this is a good one.
I want to say when did Dikembe Mutombo go on the Rockets? Was he on the Rockets with Hakeem?
He was not on the Rockets with Hakeem.
Dang.
There is a past Grizzlies pair of combo or duo.
Yeah.
There is a Spurs duo in here.
Is it Alvin Robertson and David Robinson?
Ooh, that actually probably is another one that I missed.
Okay.
Here.
Well, because I know Alvin Robinson has won that Depoy.
The Spurs one I was going for was Dennis Rodman and David Robinson.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he play he played like 10 games for the Spurs? Am I right? Or
he did like a season and a half.
Yeah,
the Spurs just didn't like him.
I mean, well, honestly, like at the time, our team was led by David Robinson, who's like, military guy, very Christian guy, and then in comes Dennis Rodman. Like that relationship was never going to mesh.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, that is a bad pairing.
Yes.
Jaren Jackson and Marc Gasol.
Were they on the same team?
They were on that when Jaren was a rookie.
Oh man, I missed another one. I apologize. You guys are coming up with more than I had.
But I'm trying to think of what the easy ones that you're talking about were. Like two that are like attainable, man. That's
yeah, and MJ and why am I wanting to think of? No, it's not. Dang, I'm trying not to. I'm fighting the urge to want to like look up something, but
no, we didn't have to be on the same team when it happened.
Is it Jordan and Ben Wallace?
It is not, but there is a 2008 Chicago one with Ben Wallace and another future Depoy.
Is it Noah?
Yeah, Joakim Noah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Golly.
Who was with Jordan or played with Jordan?
Oh, come on. You guys are going to be mad when you get this one. We've already said his name.
Oh, Rodman. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Duh. Okay. Yeah. I'm stupid.
Yeah. Who else? Who played?
We've got a Toronto Raptors combo. We've got a Miami Heat combo, a Clippers combo, and another Grizzlies combo.
Did Alonzo Mourning play with Gary Payton?
Yes, sir. The 2006.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that one was going to be the hardest one to get.
I honestly, I don't know how I pulled that. I'm just literally just trying to think of all the defensive player of the years I can possibly think
me too.
Man, I can't believe I missed Jaren Jackson Jr. because he was there with Marc Gasol, and then there was a third defensive player. This is the only time 3 defensive players have all been on the same team, and I'm sure.
Dude, and that was the 2018 Grizzlies. Who is this?
The 2018-2019 Grizzlies.
Or 2019? Yeah. Oh man. Who did they play like 2 games? like who is this, man?
42 games, 1 start.
Oh, Joakim Noah.
Joakim Noah.
There we go.
Yes, sir. Joakim also had a brief stint with the Clippers where he played with Kawhi.
Kawhi, yeah.
And then the Toronto Raptors had both Kawhi and Marc Gasol.
Oh yeah.
A very Memphis heavy
deep one. And here I got like 2 of them maybe.
Well, how are you feeling about your upcoming season? What's the outlook? Any big John Conchar or David Roddy news you want to give us?
Let's see. Zaire Williams is healthy.
Good.
He doesn't have tendonitis in his knees anymore. I think he's done growing. Let's see, because he's like 20 years old. I mean, he's going into his 3rd year, and so his second half of his rookie year, he was really, really good. And then last year he was just horrible because he was in so much pain all the time, and he barely played, I feel like. But yeah, so Zaire's going to be back. There's a competition in the wing rotation right now with like him, Roddy, LaRavia. People on Twitter are postulating that like Marcus Smart is going to be like the starting small forward when Ja comes back. I don't know.
You should just go with Desmond Bane at the 3 and Smart at the 2. Like, doesn't that make more sense?
It's just that Desmond Bane is like he's shorter than you think, and he has short arms. You know.
Yeah. But he's strong though. He's so strong.
Yeah.
But you're right. You need length if you're gonna guard a 3.
Dude, I was looking through his Facebook photos from like 2011 one time, and when he was like 10 years old, he was swole. He was huge.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's where I felt she shared a bunch of like pro Kobe, anti LeBron, like horrible Facebook memes.
Good man.
Back when he was in like the 6th grade. So, yeah, I don't know. Like Steven, there's a big question mark with Steven Adams. I'm sure y'all know, because he missed the last like 38, 40 games of the season. And I mean that Memphis is built around like the Josh Steven Adams pairing, you know, and so it was supposed to be a 6 to 8 week injury, and then he missed the rest of the season. But all indications are that he's like fully healthy, but they're still being a little like, they're like, oh, we think he's going to give it a go. We think he can probably start the season. So that's what people in Memphis are like a little confused right now about what's going on with him. Because he just, you know, he's super important to everything we do. Paint scoring, offensive rebounding, everything, you know. It's all built around him. Yeah,
emotional intelligence, leadership.
Yeah, you know. he was the reason why I felt like, I mean, not that I mean, even with him, I think the Lakers series, you know, last year would have been really, really close. But you know, he was the clear missing piece out there. Just missing down low for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of Xavier Tillman.
Yeah.
But,
me too.
That is a huge downgrade.
It is, unfortunately.
We're going to play Steven Adams to we're going to play Tillman in extended minutes. How do you think they're going to fare without Ja for the first 25 games?
I went through every single game, and I picked like what I think the result is going to be. Let me find where I put it. I think that in the first 25 games, they are going to be 14 and 11. Okay. Yeah.
So a little above 500?
Yeah, because like this roster, I mean, there's some really good players on this roster, and like there's a lot of continuity between a lot of them. I think you're going to see them be a little more mature this year, I hope. That's what we're all begging for. But yeah, I mean, just Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, Jaren, and then hopefully Steven Adams, like that's going to be able to like hold them above water. I believe. But yeah, what if somebody gets injured, then it's over. But you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. I mean, I think, you know, you get Steven Adams back, you know, you add a guy that has a lot of playoff experience, a lot of toughness, obviously a depoy under his belt, even though I think that Defensive Player of the Year was definitely questionable. but I also think that, you know, there's enough positive there where if y'all are healthy, I could easily see y'all having a 50-win season.
Yeah. Now, I will say I also used to think that the depoy was fraudulent, but now I do not think that. So I think he earned it entirely.
And why? What brought you to this realization that he earned it?
You know. I mean, there's so many reasons.
I'll never blame you for backing your guy.
Yeah. But dude, I was so excited. So I've loved Marcus Smart since he was in college. Like he's kind of a parallel to Tony Allen in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Like started with the Celtics, came to Memphis. I watched University of Memphis. We played Oklahoma State twice at the beginning of, I feel like it was the 2013-14 college season. And Marcus Smart completely tore the team that I thought was going to be really good, completely tore them up. They had no answer for him on either end of the floor. And I watched a ton of OK State that year. And, you know, I think he probably could have like gone pro after 1 year, but like I'm really glad that he stayed so that I could see him in that environment, and then he could go to Boston, which like that was a perfect team for him for the first several years of his career. And then now, like, if he has to go anywhere other than Boston, I feel like Memphis is the perfect fit. Like, culturally, fit-wise, like, toughness, the fan base here is going to absolutely adore this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, y'all have always, I mean, I feel like even since the grit and grind days, y'all have still kept that mentality. And I think, he embodies that perfectly.
Yeah.
I remember his college days as well. I was like actually at that Texas Tech game wherever he ran into the stands and pointed that finger at that old dude. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, this dude is built different. This guy is crazy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I couldn't agree with you more. That was a good pickup. I think he's gonna be a great fit.
I do worry about a little bit about adding more crazy to Memphis.
Okay, but to defend that, because Ja obviously in the last 6 or 7 months has been a complete idiot, but I think that he is going to learn a lot from Marcus Smart on just how to like kind of control the craziness and like not, I don't know. I think Marcus Smart wants it so bad that he's going to be like, all right, delete Instagram from your phone. Don't go out after because the first incident, let's call it, was in Denver. It was after a loss, and it was 2 hours, maybe 3 after Brandon Clark tore his whatever he tore. And so that's why like I and the rest of the fan base, like, we were like, could you have done this at a worse time? Like, that's so insensitive, dude. Like, that's being a horrible teammate to just like go out to the strip club and then get suspended for however many 12 games or whatever. So I would, I thought he had learned from it. He clearly hadn't, but maybe he learned for the second time,
I do think having more veteran presence around him will be good.
Yeah.
I mean, all these incidents happened after Steven Adams was injured and wasn't with the team.
Yeah.
So having him back in the lineup, hopefully, will be good. Having Smart there will be good. I think having a Derrick Rose there has some potential. I've not been the biggest Derrick Rose guy. I know he's had his own off-the-court incidents.
Definitely,
but just like the guy that had a similar career and similar trajectory of like, I'm this emerging superstar at a young age and then blew out his knee. I think having Rose there is a kind of a reminder of the shortness, the brevity of a career.
Yeah.
Could be really good.
You'd like to hope, it's so hard for me to grapple with my feelings about Derrick Rose because like he did something horrible, but also like he's the guy that got me into basketball. So like I don't know, man. It's so hard for me to like him, but like at the same time, I'm like, you are the reason that I have been watching basketball for 15 years, So it's so hard to grapple with that.
Yeah,
I understand. I got into the sport because of Kobe.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it's
and like, I don't ever want to be the person that just kind of turns a blind eye to that and says, "Hey, this doesn't matter," or like, it wasn't really that big. No, I hate that. Like this.
No.
Yeah,
sports figures can do horrible things.
Yeah, there's certain things that you just can't separate from the player, and it's exactly when I'm watching movies. It's like I can't separate certain things from like a movie I watch if I know something about that filmmaker, and it's like you can't ignore those things.
Yeah.
But as for like what you were saying about like Derrick Rose Ja Morant is kind of trying to speed run the Derrick Rose experience right now, where he's like super shining star, and then obviously, knock on wood, he hasn't gotten a terrible injury, but like horrible off the court incident. And, in Ja's case, multiple, like you would just hope that Derrick Rose would be able to teach him that, you could be just like a has-been with like at the snap of a finger. And also I think being in Memphis, like, cause Derrick Rose went to Memphis, obviously. He's barely even played in Memphis for the last 15 years and has never had a relationship with the basketball program at all because it was Calipari. He didn't play for Josh Pastner or Tubby Smith. But now, like, I don't know, Penny Hardaway is such a huge figure in Memphis, obviously, and he's the U of M basketball coach. I think Penny Hardaway has reached out to Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose has reached out to Tony Allen, trying to like foster kind of a sense of mentorship and community like among the team. And, you know, I just think Tony Allen's made some mistakes too, maybe not on quite that level, but I just really think that this is going to turn around for Ja, because I think he's got so many people in his corner. Because like Penny Hardaway, he injuries ruined him, and he was kind of a diva to begin his career. Derrick Rose, injuries ruined him. Tony Allen, beloved Memphis figure. He's got all the tools, man. I mean, he just has to have the right mindset, and if he does, then he'll get through this. And if he doesn't, he's gonna flame out. You know.
I think that's totally fair, and you know, I think we're all pulling for him to figure it out. It's never a good thing to see, you know, a young man with troubles, and it's just like it's solvable. So I think we're all rooting for it. Where did you guys land wins wise for Memphis?
Yeah, so again, it's dependent on a star player, like with the Pelicans, but I just went through and like assumed, you know, health, assumed Ja not being an idiot, and I got to 50.
Okay. Yeah, they were at 51 last year.
Yeah.
Sure. But that is with a pretty tumultuous year. I mean, missing out on Ja for the first 25 games.
Yeah.
You know it. You can plan for it. Might be a little bit better than having him in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes all the sense in the world. I think, you know, there's some positive additions to your team. You know, obviously Steven Adams and Marcus Smart are going to bring a lot of, you know, leadership and physicality and, you know, toughness to the team that, you know, that's their identity. So I think that's obviously a huge thing. But, you know, and more so what you said, you can plan around that suspension. So you can tweak your roster to where you're going to maybe, you know, run some lineups you weren't expecting to run, but, you know, that'll make you figure out, you know, who can you trust later on, what kind of lineups can you run, maybe a variety of small ball situations. So I think, you know, it may be a little tough those first 25 games, but I see him winning 50.
Yeah. I will say so I mentioned the wing stuff. Zaire Williams, David Roddy, Jake LaRavia, all three of those guys, like if one of them is like a competent backup wing, that'll make me feel so much better about this team. Like, because last year the contributions from Zaire and LaRavia were minimal.
Yeah.
David Roddy was great. If he can improve a little bit, if one of those two other guys can improve, then like we have an actual rotation at that point once Ja gets back.
You guys have the deepest roster in the league. Like, I mean, projected starting five: Adams, Jackson, and Zaire, Desmond, Ja. Second string: Tillman, Santi Aldama, David Roddy, John Conchar, Marcus Smart. Third string: Brandon Clark, Kenny Lofton. Oh no, I just got him third. There's Kenny Lofton, Brandon Clark, Jake LaRavia, Luke Kennard, and Derrick Rose. Like that's 15 guys who can play, man.
The best thing, and dude, this is why I love being a fan of this team in particular. They can throw so many different lineups at you, and like they can, if somebody's out like for a game or two, like they can fill in kind of seamlessly. Now in the long term, it gets more squirrely, of course, but for like one game, you can throw in John Conchar and it's going to be fine. You can throw in Zaire Williams and it's going to be fine. It's, you know, it's when you get to the like a 25 game stretch, like the beginning of the season, where it's like, okay, you gotta plan a little more. You gotta be a little more judicious about who gets the minutes. But everybody on this team can like actually play basketball, which is it has not always been that way.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I told you I'd keep you here around an hour and 15. Is there anything, thank you very much for going through this exercise with me, running through the different teams. Was there anything that you guys want to talk about? Anything hot and pressing on the NBA circuit that, you've been dying to chat with someone about?
I mean, I think the main topic right now is Dame. Are you thinking Bucks number one in the East, or is it Boston now that they got Drew?
Man.
Yeah. Well, so I listened to the a great podcast today called the Hoops Temple podcast, and somebody on there made a great point about how like Milwaukee, there's no defensive scheme that can stop Dame plus Giannis, you know?
Yeah, that pick and roll is just absolutely deadly. I mean, it's limited in a sense because Giannis isn't a true pick and pop option.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if he's rolling going downhill towards the basket, that's the most dangerous pick and roll out there.
Yeah. And then I mean, if Dame gets, I'm sorry for cutting you off. If Dame gets the ball, I mean, he can pull from anywhere.
Yeah. Or you could do like a stagger, like a horn series action where you've got the pick and pop from Lopez and then Giannis going to the basket.
Yeah.
Middleton in the corner or Connington the weak side. Like, that's really lethal. My one hesitation is just, man, Milwaukee, why didn't you stay engaged and make this a 4-team trade so you had some say in where Drew was going? Because him going to Boston is the absolute worst case scenario. Like, if you end up in Miami, fine. Like, that sucks, but Boston is just a brutal thing.
And I do think that Boston is, kind of not a nightmare matchup for Milwaukee, but like that it's the toughest matchup for Milwaukee probably. I will say the people talking about the playoff series from 2018 where Drew Holiday locked up Damian Lillard. Yes, like that happened, and Drew Holiday is still a very capable defender, but like that's going to be 6 seasons ago. So like, I don't know if that holds too much weight nowadays.
I really like what he could do against Dame, but they had to give up Rob Williams. They already lost Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Who's going to guard Giannis? Like, are we putting all of that weight on Al?
Al Horford,
feels dangerous.
Nah, Porzingis is going to hold it down.
Porzingis is going to make it to the playoffs for sure.
Rob, what do you think?
I mean, I love the move for Milwaukee, but ultimately I agree with you. Like, how could you let him go to your number one competition? It immediately made me say, all right, Milwaukee was the favorites, and then now the Celtics are the favorites. So it's, I think, Celtics did an amazing job, went after the exact guy that you needed. And, I know we were just laughing at Porzingis, but I think that's a damn near solid big four. That's a legitimate big four. And if Porzingis is the fourth guy in that rotation, then I think they have a great chance to make it back to the finals.
And if he's hurt, they have Luke Cornett right there ready to go.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Does Porzingis do the Cornett contest? Does he do that?
I think he tried it for a little bit in Washington.
So Porzingis, when he plays and is engaged, like, he's great. I don't love him. I just have never liked him as a player. I feel like if you can't put it together when you're playing with Luka, I don't know. Like when I don't know, man.
I also feel like the Mavs kind of misused him a little bit. They had him taking more threes than he has throughout his whole career. And I think that he was just kind of forced into that, outside shooter role a little bit too much. But like, I also agree with you. It's like that. I mean, if you're not going to get easy buckets and be efficient next to Luka, then who is it going to be,
Yeah. Let me see how many. Yeah, he was shooting. They had him shoot a ton at the beginning. My gosh.
Yeah.
He was shooting 7 a game in the first year.
They ran him out there like he was Dirk. And
right. Which, I mean, but he's a poor man's Dirk. Let's be frank.
And he has a different skill set. He was really good in the post this last year for Washington. So, Dallas just didn't use him down there all that much. I push back a little bit on if you're not good with Luka, you're might not be as good, because Luka's been really ball dominant. I think
he is super heliocentric. You are right. Yeah. I don't know. This does have a lot of potential to be a better situation for him, because like I don't know. They can kind of let him do what he does best instead of kind of forcing him into a larger role than he may be able to handle. But I don't know. I do think that they're probably better than Milwaukee just right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think it's like a massive, I don't think the Drew Holiday thing is like, okay, ace in the hole. Like, if we meet, you're done. Like, I think it's going to be a super entertaining series, and like, they would have to scheme a lot against each other.
Absolutely. I think we're all hoping that's the Eastern Conference Finals matchup.
Definitely.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You know what? As long as it happens, I don't care what round it is.
Yeah.
If, one of them gets off to a slow start, someone else takes the 1 seed, just make it happen.
Who do you think that might be if somebody else other than those two were one?
This is going to sound weird, but I think Atlanta.
Atlanta, really?
I think Quinn Snyder is going to come in and like really crack the whip on those guys.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that they're going to take the 1 seed, but I think Milwaukee or Boston really needs to falter, or both of them kind of need to falter.
Yeah.
Like, so I think Atlanta, it has that potential to jump up. Either them or the Knicks.
Interesting. I'm warmer on the Knicks. Atlanta.
Yeah.
Wow. I would need to think about Atlanta a little more.
I would maybe think the Cavs could somehow sneak in there too, but I'm not. Yeah,
I do love that Cavs team, but
I'm not as high on them as I was going into last year. I was.
Yeah.
But I still feel like that young core is really solid, and the more that Garland and Mitchell play together, I think it could be something.
What's your hesitation? Is it the bigs, the fact that Mobley didn't quite develop as much as we were hoping, and that Jaren Allen looked really bad in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's more Mobley. Like, I was, going into his rookie year, and even like during some of his rookie year, there was like people calling him like Kevin Garnett-esque, and comparing him to Chris Bosh on offense. And I'm like, dude, I'm not quite seeing that, and I still haven't seen it yet. I mean, he's a really good defender, don't get me wrong, but like, to be like a game-changing rim protector, he needs to take a step up.
Yeah. It's the thing with Garnett that we always miss is just how much that intensity really mattered. Like, I was watching, it was just on NBA TV. It was like the 98 All-Star game. And it's young KG, and they're talking about how they're trying to run him at point guard some. And I was like, he has all of this fluidity and movement. I was like, man, it kind of reminds me of what we saw from Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons just never had that like aggression or intensity. Like, if you could dial up, his level from 1 to like 10 on the intensity side, like, Simmons could have been really good.
I know the Ben Simmons is just so frustrating as a player, but dude, I didn't watch that game. I watched recently. I watched Kevin Garnett's first matchup with Tim Duncan, which was in I guess 98 or 90. I can't remember what year, but dude, that's a great game. That's on YouTube if you ever bored.
I need to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah. I did. I like that. I like the. Here's another recommendation: Shaq's first game against Yao Ming. That's a great one.
Oh, absolutely! That's an all-time great. Yeah, Yao shuts him down like three possessions in a row, or close to 3 possessions in a row, and I love hearing Shaq talk about that story.
Yeah,
man. Well, I think that's a good segue. I wanted to give you guys a chance to plug what you were working on. And Lewis, you're working on something absolutely fantastic. I love listening into the beginning of Rim Dynasties. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about it?
Yeah. So, Rim Dynasty, which it's a little bit of a departure from the last podcast I did, which was Backfired. So I'm doing previews right now of every division, kind of like you guys. But I'm starting in 1999 this summer, and I'm going to go week by week and look at every single week of the 99-2000 NBA season, and then hopefully continue onward if people like it. But I'm just going to do a detailed news breakdown. I've got some segments that I'm planning to kind of spotlight some of the the high performing rookies, kind of the high performing less remembered guys. But the thing that I think is the coolest about this show that I'm doing, I have this huge collection of NBA games from that era. And so I'm going to watch one, and then I'm going to like break down just kind of like from a storyline perspective, what happened in that game. And then ideally, which I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Ideally, I'm going to also post the game somewhere, either in a Google Drive or on YouTube, and let people watch along, and be able to like discuss it, kind of like a book club. So yeah. So I had it came to me. It was just a shower thought, and I really liked it, so I've been doing it. And yeah, first game is going to be the Seattle Sonics versus the LA Clippers in November '99.
Dang, is that Corey Maggette? The Clippers?
Corey Maggette, I believe.
Next year.
Corey Maggette, let me see. I haven't actually watched the game yet, so I'm not 100% sure.
So some Elton Brand action in there.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, Corey Maggette, he's on Orlando that year. Yeah.
Man, I don't even know who is on that Clippers team that year.
Let's see. Lamar Odom.
Is it Chris Kaman?
Chris Kaman is not on the team, so it's Lamar Odom, Michael Olowokandi, Maurice Taylor. Let's see, who else is even good on the team?
That is bad basketball there.
Yes. Nobody's good on the team, but yeah, dude, it's gonna be fun. So that's actually the first game when they opened the Staples Center is this game that I'm gonna watch. So history right there.
That's legit.
Yeah,
nice.
The Clippers got there before the Lakers.
Huh? Did not know that. Well, Rob, what are you working on? What's coming up next for you?
I'm going to be doing season 2 of the Baseline Bums podcast. Shout out Baseline Bums. That's if you didn't know who the Baseline Bums were, they're like the most original diehard fans, that support San Antonio, that have existed since they were the Dallas Chaparrals. So just wanted to pay homage by naming our podcast after them. So we're gonna be diving into season 2, going to be talking a lot about the silver and black, especially now that we got some more, nationally televised games that a lot of people will actually be able to watch. So, so that'll be fun now that we're kind of back in the spotlight again. And I also just started a little basketball card shop, a little online card shop where I've got some memorabilia, some various basketball cards, and doing live openings and selling stuff like that. Just because, it's tough for me to stay away from anything hoops related. It's I gotta consume it pretty much everywhere. So yeah, starting that up just a couple of months ago. So. Yeah. If anyone's interested in any basketball cards or anything like that, I got you.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you guys so much for coming on the pod. It was awesome to talk hoops with you guys for a bit. Aaron sends his apologies and says that he will have to have you guys back because he missed out on chatting with you guys. But thanks for coming, and thanks for listening. You can email us, hoopstemple@gmail.com. Love to hear from you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.